Good morning, everybody. It's your boy D-Mac. So let's talk. All right. So you saw the title. There's about 15 former NFL players, including Clinton Portis, who I was talking about a week ago because he had got in trouble for not paying his child support. And come to find out this week that he, along with 14 other players, have been charged in an insurance scam that they were doing through the NFL. There's an insurance company who gives health insurance to former NFL players, and you file a claim and they will do a payout for the medical equipment that you need. Well, a lot of these players were filing false claims for medical equipment that they never used, and they went and they received a lot of money for it. I believe they said that Clinton Portis got about $300,000 or almost $300,000 for a claim that he put in and didn't use the money for the medical device that he claimed he needed and just pocketed the money. And so out of that money, he could have paid his not life insurance, but his child support 3 times over. So I have no remorse for a guy who's doing that. Clinton Portis, they say that they reported that he's living in a 2-bedroom apartment at this time, and the brother just going through, he's doing bad. But I mean, if you're doing those types of things, man, you can only expect bad things to come out of it. You can't continue to do stuff like that and think you're going to get over it and it's never going to catch up to you. And most people be living in the moment and they're like, well, I'll deal with it whenever it comes. Well, the time is here, and now these 15 NFL players have to deal with the consequences of their actions. There's one player, I forgot his name, but he made about $2 million just getting people to run this scam along with him. But now it's caught up to them, and they're going to serve the consequences of their actions. And that's what I want to talk about, serving the consequences for your actions. We do a lot of things out here in this world, and we think nobody's watching. God's always watching. And it's funny how we are so concerned to keep something hid from people when the person that we are really trying to hide it from, we couldn't hide it from if we wanted to. That's the best way I can put it right now. I'm just getting up, y'all, excuse me. But yeah, man, we do so many things out here, and the consequences of those actions people don't think about, because for a long time consequences were set on the back burner. People will go out and do things, and this is why I'm really big about enablers, because this is what causes the problem with people not understanding the consequences of their actions. So they'll go out and they'll do these different things without any regard, and then expect somebody to come in and be their savior. And a lot of times people will come in and be their savior because people have this, I don't know if you want to call it a complex, but people like to be saviors. But there's only one savior. And when we do these things like this, we're getting in between the true savior and that person gets some true salvation. And so they feel like they're not receiving any consequences because they felt like they got away with whatever they did. And whenever we came to their rescue and became their safety net, they felt like they got over. But let me explain something. When you think that you've gotten away with something because you're not feeling the immediate consequences of what you've done, that does not mean that you've gotten away with it. So many times I've done things and just built up an accumulation of stuff, and I was like, well, I got over it. Didn't anything happen, so I must be good. And then as time goes by and you begin to forget about those things that you've done, and then you go and try to get something accomplished, that's when that thing is gonna pop back up in your face. And you're gonna be like, oh, I did do that. Well, let's see what happened was, and then you try to explain away your poor decisions, but that's not going to help, because now the consequence for your action is being put forefront and center. So that's where people have a problem. We're looking right now at people in court for the insurrection on January the 6th. And a lot of these people are pointing the finger at others because they don't want to accept the consequences of their own individual actions. They'll say that, well, Donald Trump made us do it, or Matt Gaetz made us do it, or whoever else they want to try to point the finger to. But just remember, when you're pointing the finger at somebody, you have three pointing back at you. And this is what these people are not understanding. So the consequences of their actions are now being dealt with, and they don't like it because they've never had that experience before. They've always been used to getting by, or somebody giving them a break, or somebody coming in and swooping in and saving the day, and that's not there for them anymore. And now they're all by themselves having to deal with those consequences, and they can't. This is going to be the same thing when we go before the judgment seat of God. All of the things that we've done in our life, we're going to have to answer for, and there's not going to be anybody there to vouch for us, to speak on our behalf, or anything like that. So just understand that. And so dealing with the consequences of your actions is a part of your growth. It's a part of the process of your life, and this is how you learn, and this is how you gain wisdom through the experiences of your life. And so, as hard as it may be sometimes to deal with consequences, you have to man up or woman up, because you chose to do what you did, and you knew most of the time, I'll say about 95% of the time, we know what the consequences are, or the potential consequences of our actions, and we still go ahead with it anyway, and we forego those consequences. So when you forego those consequences, just know that you're just delaying the inevitable. You're not getting rid of anything or putting anything to bed. Yeah, man. And consequences are a part of life. There's a action and a reaction. We all know this. This is what Murphy's Law. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Well, that is so true. And so why would we expect there to not be a reaction to our actions? I used to be like this because I've skated through life on certain aspects, and it didn't do me any good, because as I got older and I wasn't able to skate through anymore, I didn't understand why I was getting pinged for the stuff that I used to get away with all the time. And I came to find out that God holds you to a certain standard, and God is He's not going to allow you to continue with the same old stuff that you were doing before. As you grow older, as you grow in knowledge, as you grow in understanding, you are held to a higher standard now. And so at that higher standard, you can't do the same things that you did at that lower level. Because if you do something at this lower level, you're not going to get an increase to the next level until you finish off what's necessary for that first level to be done with. You're not going to bring your baggage to the next level. That's not how God works. He's not going to increase you until you've accomplished the simple things that he said. He said, if you're a steward over the small things, then I will make you, I will give you greater things. You know what I'm saying? And so we have to demonstrate that we're able to handle things down here on this level first, because leaving things down here is going to create a problem when you're up here. And you're already going to have enough problems up here on that next level, so you don't need any remnant of the last problems that you were dealing with to add on top of what this new level is going to bring. Like they say, new level, new devil. And so this is where we have to gain our understanding that the consequences for what we do We have to face them. We have to be a man. We have to be a woman and face what we've done, face what we've said. And, a lot of times that's going to hurt. But guess what? It's best to deal with it then than to drag it out, because dragging it out is only delaying the inevitable in your life, and it's going to make your life of a lesser quality, because now you're worrying. Now you're concerned, and you always have in the back of your mind, when is this going to come down the pipe and I have to deal with it in the moment. Whatever it is, deal with it in the moment. Don't ignore it. Don't try to get around it. Walk through it. Be a man or a woman. Grab the bull by the horns and deal with your issues. We spend so much time avoiding the inevitable consequences for our actions that all we're doing is wasting time, when we can just get that done, accept the consequences of our actions, accept what penalty is going to come with those consequences, deal with those penalties, and move on with life. And then we can let that go and start to concentrate on other things. But as long as you're running from stuff, these things are always going to be on your mind. They're going to build up on you. And the next thing you know, you're going to be in an overwhelmed situation. And then you're going to really be calling for help. And so what do you do when you're calling for help and those enablers are no longer there? Because a lot of times enablers will come through and help you out for their own personal reasons. They have their own personal views, and it's not necessarily how much they care about you and things like that. They have their own personal things that cause them to enable others, and it has to do with something in their past life and some failures in their life. And so it's not helping you any. All it is doing is making you more making you a bigger whatever you are in that moment that caused those consequences. And so I just wanted to put that out there this morning. These guys, these NFL players who committed this fraud in the midst of a pandemic, when people are out here trying to survive and trying to make ends meet and things of that nature. And then you have these people who are extorting the government or committing fraud against insurance companies just to get money. And what is this money going towards? Because if Clinton Portis is still living in a 2-bedroom apartment and he's not paying child support, then what is he spending all of this money on? It could be so many things. I'm not going to speculate and just put no narratives out there that I don't know. So I'll just leave it at that, man. I'm glad that it was brought out, and they definitely need to accept the consequences of their actions. And maybe this will be a lesson to turn them on the right path. This is your boy D-Mac, man. You know what I say, sticks and stones can break your bones, but the word can always heal you. I'm out.